Are you confused about where to start putting all those wonderful ideas you have about writing a book onto the pages? Well, here is an episode where I will be sharing my insights with Prosper about how to going from confusion to clarity, writing your book to elevate your expertise, increase your credibility, and really make an impact in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another riveting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have what we now call a regular guest on our show. Sigrid, how are you doing today?
Hello, Prosper. Really great to be here. I am fantastic today.
Absolutely. Well, today we're going to be talking about going from confusion to clarity about your book idea. The last time we were here, we were talking about you and a bit of your stories and how you actually got started. So today I'm hoping you're going to teach us a little bit about the clarity that people need to have, for them to get started on their book idea. But we're also going to be hearing a few stories about yourself. I was just laughing because for those that are watching right now, you might be thinking, okay, I know you guys know each other, but Sigrid has had many lives in the past. One of which she once carried $140,000 worth of diamonds in a handbag from Sydney to Brisbane, and she actually lived to tell the tale. So maybe we can start off with that and how all these little stories culminate into the person that she is now. And now, if that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what else will. Now, Sigrid, just for those at the back of the room that haven't heard or seen you before, just tell a little bit about what it is that you do and how you're helping people go from confusion to clarity, especially when it comes to their writing their book.
Thank you. Okay. So as you said, I have got a history of many different things in the past, and they have led me to now be a high impact, high profit book writing, publishing, and marketing strategist. And that's come about because of those businesses I've had in the past. One of them was a diamond jewelry business. And you know what? I still have a few tools today from that business. Look here, my glasses to see my diamonds with, and my special diamond tweezers to pick those up with. And that was a fantastic business. That led me to have brilliant staff, which led me later on to write my very first book about staff matters. And from that experience, I've moved into now helping people in business, like I was, other types of businesses, to use a book to elevate expertise, experience, and really bring out the credibility of what you are doing or what you're going to do next. It is true, you mentioned about the confusion, coming from confusion to clarity, and people who have an idea or would like to write a book or are being told you should write a book. What they describe sometimes is it's like a hamster wheel in their head. It goes round and round. I could write this and that and the other, and they can't stop it.
Absolutely. I quite like it. The very fact that you still have your diamond equipment and everything else that comes along with it. So at the end of the day, what you actually do is extract the diamonds in the rough that people have, and you give them in the form of a book, so to speak.
That is a really great analogy, Prosper. I love it. That is so true. You have those rough diamonds in you, your expertise, your experience, what you're doing now, what you've done in the past, something to share. And it is really often the case that you yourself, I myself, that we are not seeing what other people can see. And we don't always value as much what we know that other people would like to know, because we have it and other people don't. So sharing in a book is a fantastic way to do so.
Absolutely. I quite like that. So maybe we could actually do a book writing exercise so that we can literally go maybe from start to finish. And we could be writing, a book based on, as somebody's maybe expertise or credibility. Okay. So what is the first thing that you want somebody to prepare before maybe they come to you to get started on writing that book?
Great question. The first thing I want people to think about and to prepare to come into consultation with me is to really work out what it is they want this book to do for them. When we are in business, we do things for others. We provide a service or a product. And so the book can become something that provides a service for us. What is it you would like your book to do for you? And let me use an example to showcase a little bit around that. So when I came from my diamond jewelry business and some other businesses in the past that were around retail, I had experienced other business owners with a lack of knowledge and a lack of working with their own staff well. I had no trouble at all. I had fantastic people in my businesses, and I thought it would be a good idea to help these other business owners. I was pointed to writing a book, so I decided I want a book to give me the credibility and authority on the topic of how to find and keep great people. So the book was for me the tool to give me credibility and authority. That's most of the time what people are looking for: credibility, authority, or recognition in general on a bigger level, on a wider scope.
Absolutely. All right. So now that maybe we now know that this person is looking for authority, because I quite like that you use that word. Have you ever noticed that in the word authority, there is the word author in there?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it is a word that already exudes a certain image. You know immediately an author is somebody who's penned ideas, thoughts that they know about. They know about what they put down onto the pages of a book. So there's the authority. Of course, it goes back much further. Authority of authorship goes back to the days when it was a skill of few to be able to write. Later on, more and more people were schooled to be able to write, but it was tedious to write by hand and get that word out to the masses, to people, to get to know what your story is that you're telling or the expertise you wish to share. And when we finally got the printing press in place and books could be printed, and many more people were able to access books, again, that standing of the author as an authority was uplifted so much, and it has lasted to this day. Isn't that fantastic to think there is such a history attached to that?
Oh, absolutely. Everything has always been either set in some sort of written format. Even the hieroglyphics in the Egyptian, pyramids, it's always somebody writing some sort of a message or relating a story or giving some sort of lessons that can be passed down for generations to come. Now, so many people that go into writing a book would have maybe over 20, 30, or 40 years of experience, and you can't cramp all of that into maybe 100 pages or 250 sort of pages. What is the process that you then use to grab the concept out of their head onto some sort of a page, and also how discover what exactly to write? Because there's expertise in knowing what to add and what not to add.
That is exactly the way I look at it. Thank you for pointing that out, Prosper. So the process I use is when we know what the book is going to do for us, what is the outcome we want to achieve with the book, that gives us immediately the hint as to what to write about. In my case, with that very first book, it was about how to find and keep great staff. When we know what we want the book to do for us and we know what the topic is we need to write on, we can further narrow down to say, okay, who are the people who want to know this? So we have a target audience. We can already clarify and focus in on the target audience. Who wants to know about this particular topic? So we have already narrowed further and further down to what we're going to write about. And now, when we know that people in business, in small business, which it was in my case, then I know what these people are looking for, and I only have to write about those areas that they are interested in, that they don't know, but I do know. I don't have to expand on all my previous businesses, how I did what and where and when, but I write about what this reader, the small business owner in this particular example, wants to know about how to find and keep great people. And that is exactly I almost could call it a formula. This one gives you this one, and then it gives you that one. And there you are. You know what you're going to write about. What this also does, which is another sometimes hurdle or stepping stone that people can't get over, that is, how much time is it going to take me to write? How many hours do I need to write? Well, when you know who you are writing for and what they want to know, you know that that is what you need to write about, and you can estimate how long will that take me. Or I already have some posts here or some other content there, so I don't have to start from scratch writing about it. I can bring it together into the chapters of my book, and it makes the entire process of writing so much faster. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I really appreciate that. Now, obviously, knowing that you've got somebody who can handhold you throughout the whole process, is there anything that you do, especially with the writer themselves? Because one, when somebody writes a book, they're literally exposing themselves to the whole world. And the thing about a book is once it's written, you can't take it back. And a lot of people have a lot of fear around that. At least with a video you can go and delete it. With a blog you can go and unpublish it or things of that nature. So there's always this fear of the unknown. What is it that you do for your clients to sort of maybe help them to actually then get on the straight and narrow and not and have the clarity they need?
Well, the fear, there are many types of fear. Ultimately, it comes down to that fear of not being liked or accepted for what you said or what you've written in your book. So when we can, in the beginning, focus on what really it is you need to write or want to write about, and we narrow that down to a specific area of that expertise that you have, you want to make sure and be sure that that is expertise you know and you have experience in how it works, so that you are saying things that are true and valuable and authentic to you. Now, we know in the world, not everybody thinks the same way we do. Not everybody agrees with what we say. So there's not much you can do about that, but you can boost your confidence in what you know, and what you are writing is authentically and truthfully what you know. So little exercises like, as you are writing, before you even finished, ask people you trust and you know they value you and who you are and what you know. Ask them about your book idea. Tell them what you're writing about. Ask them for feedback. Get positive feedback and reinforce for yourself confidence in your own work, in yourself, and use those snippets of that feedback in your marketing. Use it when you are talking about your book. You're writing it, you finished it, and so on. Use that feedback. Now, I tell you, the truth is, famous people, when you see reviews and feedback on their books, That's exactly what they were doing too. Maybe not themselves like we do, but they had other people doing it for them. They already collect feedback about their book long before it is published and ready for people to buy. So that's a really great way to boost your own confidence around what you are doing so that that fear can subside. And if you get comments, be forthright and tell the people why you wrote the book, what your intent is and was, and put and point out the positives in your story, in what you wrote about. Focus on the positives.
Absolutely. I quite like that. All right. So let's get to the writing aspect of it. Some of us still type like this, and and so, what sort of strategies do you have around the actual, writing of the book and putting it together? Because I think so many people would just be like looking at a blank page and don't even know how to start.
So what we're going to write about is already covered in when we are at the very beginning, mapping out what the book is going to do, who it's for. Then we know what sort of chapters we need. We can work out already our chapter headings with clarity. So we know the type of content that needs to go in there. Now, if you're not good at typing, that's not your favorite thing to do because you're not on the 10-finger system to do so. Simply record yourself. Now, you can do that on phones these days and just have your voice recorded and have it transcribed. The phones do that automatically. You don't even have to pay for that anymore necessarily. You can if you wish to. You can go to online platforms and have it transcribed, or you can do what we're doing right now. Take videos of yourself speaking your book, speaking your ideas. What that does is twofold. One, you have the content for your book chapters, and two, you also have it in video form, and you can take snippets of that and release those snippets over time as content for your social media to promote your ideas, to promote your book, to promote who you are and what you stand for.
Wow. Wow. I can only imagine. So you've gone on and written 3 international bestsellers, right? Is that the current rate?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. I'm three. I'm just mapping out the fourth one now on the direction of women in business to really elevate their leadership by having a book. Women are still in the majority of fearing those not getting accepted because of their book, fearing not being liked because of it, more so than our male counterparts. So I'm focusing on really giving them a lift up with that. And I want to put that into my next book. So I've just started on that one.
Absolutely. What sort of how has your life changed, since you started writing these books?
Books give you definitely an instant boost to visibility. People want to know who you are. You wrote a book. Why did you write it? What did you write it about? Oh, how did you get to know this? How did you experience that? What can I do? Is there something in me? So you get that conversation rolling. I have done a lot of networking in my time in business as well. And you probably know this too. And when you're doing networking and you are physically networking, you take your book with you, you tell people what you do, and you lift up your book and say, I have described this in my book, for example. The person who does that versus the person who says, this is who I am and what I do, and the one with the book in the hand, which one do you think people run to first? In my experience, the ones with the book in hand. So it is a really great opportunity to share who you are, what you do, and you can hand that book over to people being interested. And you are getting prospects and clients in really well. With my second book, The Secret of Marketing a Business Like Yours, I traveled the world at that point in time. I didn't have to carry the books with me. Publishing them in an online platform allows people to go and buy them in any country in their own currency, but I could talk about it. And those people were impressed and excited that they could read my book and then come to me and want to work with me. So you can really expand your business by being the authority on the topic you're writing about.
Absolutely. I quite like that, publish for global impact, because these days we now live in a global village. And if you literally can be maybe on your Instagram or on your LinkedIn and then just direct people anywhere in a shop near them or just on Amazon, they'll be able to sort of find that book. Now, is that something that you also incorporate, in your service, when people are working to write and publish a book?
Absolutely. So I like to take people ideally through 3 phases of the book writing journey, and that is the planning and then ready to write, the publishing for global impact on Amazon. That is my favorite platform. You can choose any other one, and I'm happy to give you guidance how to work out which is the right one for you. But the one with Amazon is where I can take you step by step through how to set yourself up and publish your book there so people can access it globally. And the third one, of course, is the whole idea of how you're going to position yourself with your book, the marketing. Now, it is important to understand but those 3 phases are not one after the other. In my world, they are interconnected, interwoven, and we work together on all 3 phases throughout the time together so that whichever one comes up as most important at the time, we follow that in a customized way for you and your business. So those are the 3 pillars of my work with clients: planning to inspire, publishing for global impact, and profiting with purpose. And we look at what that means for you, and then we put that in place for you, and you have all the steps to move forward once your book is published. So that is how I look at it in one go. And the really best way to find out more in detail and get a glimpse of me is to book a chat. I'm happy to chat about a person's book idea and give you hints and tips what to do next, how to put that book idea through clarity and vision onto the pages.
Absolutely. Talking about chatting with you, what would be the best way that people can get a hold of you there, Sigrid?
I think the LinkedIn profile is the way to go. It's got this beautiful book an appointment button on right on the top of the profile. Just jump on that and book a time and day, and let's have a chat about the book that is in the making, or even just in your head. Let's get it into the making.
Fantastic. I will definitely put those links in the show notes below. Now, just out of interest, what's the shortest turnaround you've ever had to work with someone from concept to actual book in hand or book in bookshelf?
3 weeks. We've had 3 weeks, and that is really a good time frame. Your book needs to be of a size, of a page number that people will be able to consume. We are in such a fast-paced world, as you know, scrolling through our social media feeds. There's no time sitting down to read. Some people will even admit they're not really reading, but when it is of an interest, the topic of an interest to them, they want to read it, but they want to get through it. So we're looking at not too many pages, not too many words onto the book to really get through that. And you can do that in 3 weeks, whether you are writing it from scratch. But most people like you and I are in business for a little while. So we already have probably material somewhere that we can pull into the book and expand on. So it makes it really fast.
Absolutely. Now that you've seen the evolving side of book writing, content creation, and things of that nature, do you think with the advent of AI, would that displace the need for people to keep writing books because all the information has been on the internet now?
Prosper, that is a question we could probably do a whole segment on its own. There's so much to it. Now, there is good and there is bad. There's positive and negative to the whole AI world. We want to look at things usually when they are new as something positive. That is my approach anyway. So AI can help you a lot. It can stimulate, for example, your chapter headings. That doesn't mean they're going to be perfect. Even if you learn how to train your own AI system to speak in your voice, and that is something you can do for sure. But I think when you're speaking from your heart, authentically sharing stories that you want to put into your book, using words that have not only a meaning, but that make an impact. And I'll use an example if I have the time to very quickly. That is not always something that AI can grasp, because we do have that imagination that I don't think AI at this point in time has, because we are programming it. So, using words that leave an impact. For example, I remember a story, and this is just a very personal part here that I'm sharing. I was sitting on the front, near the front fence of the neighbor's property. I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was really upset. The little girl from next door didn't want to play with me, and she came towards me. And she had this little green watering can in her hand, and she poured the water out of it over my socks, and I was so upset and angry. Now, those words, do you see that little green watering can in your mind's eye? So using descriptive wording to make an impact, and then attaching my personal story, I could go on about what that meaning of that was and so on. But attaching then a personal story to something like that, I don't think at this point in time AI is best at that. You could try and give it a go, but I think you really want to bring those components into your book yourself. Yes, some generic things you probably can bring in there. But do be aware, as time moves forward with AI created material, there will come a time where it becomes important to know what you wrote or what anyone anywhere put out as content, whether that was AI created or human created. I think in the future that will become important. So rely on your own knowledge, expertise, and authenticity. Definitely right now, but also for the future would be my direction.
Absolutely. Oh, this has been fun and interesting and very, very informative. At the end of the day, sometimes you see, for those that are watching right now, you'd notice I have so many books in my bookshelf, but I haven't got one of mine. So most of this was a consultation on my own part to make sure that we've got the best people to work with here. And I really, really, really applaud you for what you've done for yourself and who you've become, Sigrid. I mean, coming from a girl whose whose socks were wetted by your neighbor with that green water can. See, most of the things that you spoke about,
Here's the prop.
absolutely. See, things like that. That green water can story actually resonates, and you're right. It's something that I was actually thinking my little girls, if she would have gone to the neighbors and looking in the garden, if we've got a green one, no, we've got a pink one. So now it makes sense that putting human interest type stories would really, really help. Now, talking about that little girl with the socks that were wetted. Now that you know what you obviously got angry and everything else. What sort of advice would you give to her if you were a stranger just walking past and then you saw that little Sigrid crying because the neighbor's daughter had wet your socks, and then what sort of words of advice would you give to that little girl?
You are valuable. Take that value that you really know you have, even if it is fear mixed into it, and move forward. You will get there. Be confident in yourself. That was something that took a long time for me to learn. Had somebody shared that with me given me that pat on the back and said, just go and do it, I think it would have been somewhat easier. So yes, that's what I would say to her today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm actually glad that little girl, did that to you, because we wouldn't have had such an amazing episode, and all the savvy, successful female coaches and consultants and all the change makers out there with heart, and maybe who have a big, bold vision to create impact in the world, wouldn't have somebody to help them pass that message on to the world. So good on you for having chosen to be selfless and help people to actually, pass on their message to the rest of the world. Now, this is quite exciting for me because this is the second episode we've done with you. Now, can you promise our guests, if you're going to be coming back again, maybe this time next year, or when we're launching your new book, when it's ready, moving forward?
That would be absolutely awesome. So then we can talk about the angle of that book, how that came together, the time it took me, and why women should think about writing their own book to show their leadership in whatever area they are in right now.
Well,
fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. I really, really appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, that actually concludes our enlightening conversation with Sigrid for the second time around. She's a regular now. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on, impactful content like this. And if you're a successful female coach or consultant or a change maker, I think it's about time you put your message out there. I think our life experience and everything we've been through is something that a lot of people can actually learn from. And there's people like Sigrid, who's a beacon of empowerment and expertise in the world of book writing and entrepreneurship. I think, having people like this at our fingertips is a godsend. So if you're ready to embark on your journey to, leadership and impact, don't miss an opportunity to connect with Sigrid. I will put the links to her. You said LinkedIn, right? So that people can actually start their journey with you. All right. And if you found this episode enriching, as I sure did, be sure to rewatch it and maybe share these insights with your network, especially other female coaches and other consultants, and ask them to subscribe. Okay. Because transformative discussions like this and valuable insights are only found on the Online Prosperity Show. Now, until next time, keep prospering, keep writing, keep growing, and put your story out there. Bye for now.